Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie. Captain America has seen a ton of screen time lately, in his own films and in the Avengers. He's also been going through a pretty controversial story arc in the comics, so he's pretty much right in the forefront of nerd right now. While we definitely know a fair bit about him at this point, there may be some things you haven't learned yet. So grab your notepad because here are the top 10 surprising facts about Captain America. Number 10. He had a really lousy childhood. Cap's childhood doesn't get a ton of attention, but it's pretty heartbreaking. Steve Rogers was raised during the Great Depression to a loving mother and an abusive and alcoholic father. Steve's father would often beat his mother, lashing out in frustration at his unemployment. These origins are incredibly sad, and what's more sad is this story was not uncommon in the Depression era. It's terrible to see his mother, who's clearly an incredibly strong woman, unable to leave his father. But she was at least able to impart her resilience onto her son, who has taken advantage of this important skill throughout his heroic life. Number 9. Steve Rogers used to make comics. Before becoming the super strong Captain America, Steve was a scrawny fine art student who specialized in illustration and had taken a liking to creating comic books. This was pretty fitting given the fact that he would go on to inspire a series of comic books himself, but it makes me wonder what would have happened if he hadn't become a super soldier. Maybe Jack Kirby is an alternate version of Captain America. Number 8. He's older than Marvel. Captain America dates back to 1940, 21 years before Timely Comics became Marvel, and was a golden boy of Timely Comics. Because of his early arrival and insane popularity, he's sometimes referred to as the first Avenger, and seen as the face of morality in the Marvel Universe. He was created around the same time as Black Widow and the Human Torch, and remained a staple when Timely Comics made the transition to Atlas Comics and later to Marvel. He wasn't one of the founding members of the Avengers. Despite being called the first Avenger, it wasn't until Avengers number 4 that he was found by the team and thawed from ice. Taking the place of the Hulk, Steve joined Thor, Ant-Man, Wasp, and Iron Man on the team, becoming one of the longest lasting members and leading the team for quite some time. He was later given founding member status retroactively, and let's be real, we all still see him as a founding member, but he wasn't. Number 6. He was originally going to be called Super American. His creators were certain that they wanted an extremely patriotic hero, both due to the success of the All-American Superman and the drama of World War II. They decided on the name Super American, which was pretty weird, not only because it seemed an obvious copy of Superman, but because it just sounds so awkward. I'm really glad they went with Captain America. That said, if I really think about it, Captain America is kind of a weird name too. If I hadn't been seeing it for 25 years, I might think, yeah, that looks kind of strange. You're the captain of all of America? America has a captain, like a sports team or a military captain? Who are you again? Number 5. Chris Evans was reluctant to take on the role of Captain America. When first offered the gig, it was for a 9-picture contract, which he didn't want to commit to, largely due to the potential effects on his personal life. After refusing several times, he started to break down and eventually decided that he had to just face his fears and give it a shot, with a better deal to boot. The creators had seen a bunch of high-caliber actors, including Channing Tatum, Jensen Ackles, and even John Krasinski, but they just felt that Chris Evans was the man for the job. And I can't help but agree. Number 4. Captain America was one of the first heroes on screen. Way back in 1944, just 1 year after the release of the Batman serial, Captain America got his own. And it was really bad. They changed a lot in this version. Captain America wasn't Steve Rogers, he was Grant Gardner, a district attorney who had neither the super soldier serum nor his classic shield. The serial starred Dick Purcell, who wasn't quite as fit as Chris Evans, and he actually died a few weeks after filming. It's believed that the filming put too much strain on his heart. All in all, it was a pretty lousy show, made even worse by its potential hand and the death of its star. Number 3. He lived in an alternate dimension for 12 years. Or a few minutes, depending on your perspective. When writers were struggling to refresh the hero that had been around so long, they found that his consistent characteristics and environment were leading to some rather predictable and stale adventures. So they sent him to Dimension Z, or Dimension Z if you're American. Here time moved faster, so the 12 years he spent in this dimension were actually just a few minutes in reality. He did eventually come back, but not before having many adventures in the other dimension, even raising a foster child of his own. Number 2. he has been deemed worthy of Mjolnir a few times. Now, as you know, only those deemed worthy of Thor's hammer are able to lift it, and Cap has shown a couple times that he's worthy, as if we ever doubted it anyway. Of all Marvel characters, it's not so surprising that Cap would be one of those who would wield Mjolnir, but it was just so satisfying to actually see it happen. And at the time, it was quite shocking, until he wielded it recently, because there's one big change in Cap now. He's an agent of Hydra. How is he still worthy of Mjolnir if he's working for such an evil company? I guess we'll find out. There's no way we'll be disappointed by the answer, right? Number 1. In the 50s, he was known as Commie Smasher. As you would expect, the superhero who stood for American values has been used fairly often in various forms of propaganda. In the Cold War era of the 50s, Cap spent a year following the example of Joseph McCarthy, hunting communists like it was his job, which in a way it was. Later on, Marvel caught some flack for this and came up with the explanation that this Captain America wasn't actually Steve Rogers, but really an obsessed history professor who got plastic surgery to look like Steve and fought hallucinated communists. And to that I say, okay, geez, whatever, relax. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please smack that thumbs up button right down there and subscribe to Top 10 Nerd to see more nerdy videos. Any suggestions? Want a part 2? Know any good jokes? Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I'm Ron McKenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.
Mr. President! Thanks.